Mysterious things have been happening for years at the haunted Brookside Theatre in Romford, UK. Management has long reported sightings of ghost orbs and furniture moving by itself across the floor with no one in the room. Footage of one such strange and unexplained event was captured on a quiet Sunday morning in 2014. Management came in to find the chairs were no longer in the same place as they had been the night before. They checked CCTV tapes already knowing the answer, but for some reason, even after all these years, there's no getting used to paranormal activity, and so they check every time. A paranormal presence is shown on camera moving the chair and then the table. Half the table is off the camera, so that would be easy to move by yourself and say it was a ghost, but a chair moving by itself would be harder to fake, though it could be a string. I'll keep digging for more paranormal videos from the Brookside Theatre so we can help solve the mystery and figure out if the building is really haunted. In the meantime, let me know what you think of these creepy moments caught on camera. Many human disappearances can be explained, but not this one. Published to TikTok by Horror Talk, this is one of the strangest things ever caught on CCTV. The scary video shows two young boys walking a dirt path. Nothing is around them and they appear to be in a rural area, not a city. As they're walking, all of a sudden the kid to the right is zapped into oblivion. His friend looks over for a moment and finds his friend has vanished. He then runs off in fear for his own life. TikToker Void Z notes in the comments that there is an X on the ground and the boy stepped right in the middle of it. Could it have been a teleportation route of some kind? If so, where did this poor boy end up? It appears something quite nefarious is happening here. This creepy doll was found perched on a platform in a graveyard. What is it doing here? Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit by Blocks. The doll's eyes follow you wherever you move. It appears to be dressed in a baptism garb, and it has two sharp teeth and what look like real hair. The doll just keeps watching with its eerie grin as the cameraman takes it in from all angles, while some in the comments explain that these eyes are able to follow you due to the curvature of the glass. That still doesn't explain what this creepy demon doll is doing in a graveyard. Some Redditors want this thing removed from the earth just to be safe, but Geraldine Ferrari writes, its eyes would still follow you. Yikes. Lewis Clark and his friends want to check out this old abandoned train up close to see what's in it. All the train cars are mostly empty, but then they see something horrible in the caboose.
What is that? What? What the f?
Oh my god.
The sheets are covered in red splotches and appear to have something heavy underneath them, but Lewis Clark and his friends don't dare unwrap them. They run away from the scene as fast as possible instead, jumping over a second sheet in the process. What was under these sheets, if anything, is anyone's guess, though many have speculated that both incidents could have been covering an actual body. As far as I know, Lewis Clark and his friends have not returned to unwrap the sheets, and they probably never will. After a series of unexpected passings in his family, YouTuber Slightly Scared 2012 experienced this. Do you see a face in the fabric? The YouTuber believes it's his departed cousin's face. The cousin in question passed away, falling from a highway overpass, and within hours, this face appeared on the seat of the chair while the YouTuber was sitting in it. I wish we had a picture of his cousin to compare, but nevertheless, I definitely see a face here, but whether it's pareidolia or not is the big question. A group of forest rangers set up a camera at the Platte River State Fish Hatchery in Michigan to live stream a nest of baby bald eagles mature. They were never intending to accidentally capture a second, much larger creature instead during the live feed. A giant humanoid figure covered in what appears to be black fur prowls around the forest floor below. It doesn't look like any other native forest animal, as it clearly stands upright and swings its arms while walking. Maybe it's a person in a full bodysuit, or maybe it's an actual Bigfoot. Then again, since numerous other Bigfoot sightings have been reported in the state over the years, it could very well be legit. When ghosts need a clean getaway, they simply possess moving objects. Sometimes these objects are motor vehicles, or so this clip would suggest. Published by Doorbell in January of 2018, the short video purports to show the paranormal possession of a car parked in a parking garage. This white vehicle rocks side to side, its doors open and shut, and its alarm starts going off, all while no one is near it. Even the windshield wipers start swiping, while its back door flings open and closed. Soon the car's paranormal activity sets off every car alarm in its row. The car is later seen driving through the garage, apparently without anyone at the wheel. When the security guard sees there's no driver, he races off. Is this a driverless vehicle, or is a ghost taking this car out on a joyride? One is a lot scarier than the other. TikToker Marlene Sanchez 052 thought her partner was joking when he started to behave like something was pulling him. It turns out he wasn't. Watch closely.
When I thought he was joking, but something was really pulling him.
His leg really does look like it's being yanked by something. This is not a natural movement that you make on your own. Some in the comments also note a child's giggle at the beginning of the clip. Is that child actually there? Or is it the child spirit pulling his leg? I think it's the latter, and that's truly terrifying because that kid is strong. A YouTuber in Thailand named Hassan Natapong is exploring a ghost town full of abandoned buildings to investigate. There are far too many abandoned places to go exploring on foot, so after a while he uses a drone with a high-resolution camera to take a closer look and see what mysterious sights he can capture on video. Hassan is just a normal YouTuber and not a ghost hunter by any means, so you can imagine his surprise when he finds a mysterious figure in all white wandering down the road like a zombie or something.
ไม่มีอะไรเฮ้ยไทยฮะอะไรวะเนี่ยเฮ้ยสั่นเดี๋ยวเอาโดนแกเหรอ
He tracks the strange figure with his drone and watches as it does a bizarre walk, arms outstretched, up an unkept yard and into an abandoned house, seemingly at random. The way the figure shambles from left to right does not look like a ghost sighting, but it could be someone who is about to drop from exhaustion and needs help. So Hassan knows he needs to find this person fast before it's too late. He can see his drone flying overhead, and so he follows it to the abandoned house where he saw the mysterious figure go into. The inside is trashed and large sections of wall are completely gone. It doesn't look safe for anyone to live in here, and I wonder if this is where someone would crawl to live out their last moments in relative peace. He looks everywhere, even on the second floor, and finds no evidence that anyone is here. As he goes back down the missing staircase, you can see nobody is there. But when he gets to the bottom of the steps, he sees a little ghost girl kneeling under the stairs with long black hair over her eyes.
กลับกันดีกว่าครับไอ้ไก่เนี่ยมันไม่สบายกับเพื่อนเลยครับผู้ชม
I say this could be a ghost sighting because there's no way to have missed her going up these steps. I'm guessing that he must have not noticed her presence until he was editing the video much later. Then again, considering this looks like a very generic representation of a ghost, kind of like the movie The Ring. It's also a pretty big coincidence that he just so happens to be filming over his shoulder when she appears, so I think it could be fake after all. A paranormal investigator known only as Survivor is on his way to go exploring an abandoned haunted cottage. On the outskirts of town, 1 o'clock in the morning is when he sees, in his words, a strange grandmother on an abandoned road. There is no reason for anybody to be walking miles from town so late at night, let alone a senior, so he pulls over to see if she needs any help. To his surprise, the woman who was just there moments ago has mysteriously disappeared. He has a really bad feeling, so he pulls over at the side of the road. What he finds next has him wondering if this was a real ghost sighting caught on video. He finds nothing but an old tattered cloth where the woman was last sighted. It looks like it could just be a piece of roadside trash like a tarp or something. Take another look. Was this item really what her ghost was wearing? The Malaysian district of Sabak Bernam recently had an odd occurrence take over the entire village in November of 2020. That's when residents began to hear this sound. Phantom knocking at odd hours day and night. It's kind of hard to see through the glass, but let me put it to you this way. If I can tell there is a white car parked out front, then I definitely should be able to see the outline of whoever is pounding hard enough to rattle this door, and yet nothing's there. This video and others like it remain unexplained. If a whole village were faking this, then surely at least one person would have accidentally confessed by now. Months later, nobody has. Based on this paranormal evidence, I'd say something actually appears to be haunting this village. Brett Hankins is taking a Halloween hike through the Indiana wilderness when he spots something lurking low to the ground in the brush below. At first, he isn't sure if it's just a native coyote, which doesn't bother him much because they usually tend to leave humans alone, but then he zooms in and realizes that this is probably a large wolf on the prowl, which is a different situation entirely. Wolf or not, watch how easily this animal blends into its natural surroundings. It would have been all too easy for Brett to have casually stumbled onto the predator's hiding spot by accident, and by that time it's probably already too late to get away. And let's not forget, if there's one nearby, there's probably a whole pack somewhere close. With that said, I'm not positive if this is a wolf or not, so maybe someone can help me decide. Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh wow. There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
And Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. Question: what's scarier than a theater at night? Answer: a haunted one. Published to TikTok, this appears to show the phantom caretaker of a haunted theater. Jay says the theater is supposed to be empty, but he keeps hearing a noise, so he's searching the theater to find its source.
Alright guys, so I work at this old theater and been hearing a noise. It's a really beautiful theater, as you can see, if you can see it at all. But I keep hearing a noise in here, and there's not supposed to be anybody here, so...
Suddenly, he glimpses something in an upper theater box. He can't quite capture what it is, but after backing up a bit and zooming in, he manages to focus on this. It looks like the ghostly figure of a little boy dressed in a suit. Although the image is blurry, the scary figure is distinctly there, leering out from a theater box. Phantom of the Opera? An intruder? Maybe he's just a ghost fanboy waiting patiently for the play to start. A YouTuber named D-Dog Vlogs has been uploading since mid-2016 and specializes in exploring haunted places that are about as scary as they come, with a preference for historic locations whenever possible. He has been known to pair up with the likes of Mo Sargi and others in an effort to push his paranormal investigations to greater lengths and solidify his place in the YouTube ghost hunting community. On January 20th of 2020, he heads to a single-story home that is rumored to hold secrets so terrible that no one in the community wanted to share any details aside from a basic address. Curious, he heads to the site with fellow ghost hunters, Tay and Carlo, to see for themselves what this house holds. The first thing they notice is a glowing yellow light that flickers oddly over a door that's bolted shut. It's one of the only working lights left in the house, and it's shining like a beacon to get their attention.
But look at that room. That's creepy.
But more on that in a moment. For now, watch how the camera goes out of focus like something or someone invisible is standing right in front of them. It happens again here at exactly 3 minutes, and ironically goes on until he's finished asking people to comment if they see anything.
Now, I don't know if these places are haunted or not, so comment down below if you guys see or hear anything. I'm not saying they're haunted, I'm just not sure.
After some more exploring, they return to this mysterious locked door and see marks where it had been repeatedly drilled shut with a padlock. Something incredibly strong must have been in here at one point, and the family must have been intent on keeping it contained. Yet when they open the door, they are surprised to find a colorful race car border above. This is a kid's room of all places. They suspect that a child was locked in here for long periods of time, and I think the evidence proves that much is true. Perhaps they were even kept here well into adulthood, might I add. Furthermore, they seem to think this section of the door was either struck or clawed out over time, possibly after an extended period of isolation, which would require immense strength. I think it could simply be termite damage, but you tell me. So I want to know why you think the child was locked in here. It could have been evil parents or behavioral problems. The extent to which they had to go in order to keep the child contained seems to indicate an extreme psychological state that would require them to be on alert at all times. Their child probably needed to be kept away from sharp objects and locked in at night so that they don't do something drastic to themselves or to their parents while they slept. On the contrary, maybe that's not the case at all, and the child had evil, disturbed parents who did this for no reason. D-Dog explores a different abandoned house 2 months later on March 28th, and this investigation gets so crazy that I need your help to figure out if it's real. Is this red paint, or is it what I think it is? I really hope not.
That's so much.
At 2 minutes and 10 seconds, it kind of looks like somebody got jabbed in the corner, stumbled a few steps forward to the center of the room, and then went to the doorway. Then they doubled back, still leaking, and probably crumpled in this corner where the trail ends, or maybe that's where they were put by someone else. Tiny red splotches leading upstairs gives me the impression that more than one person was here. This red substance has dried against the wall and hardly looks reassuring, and sadly in the corner of this upstairs room is more evidence. But creepiest of all, even more so than what's on the wall or on the floor, is what's in this small unassuming corner, or rather what happens when they go near. This is the only part of the video that becomes blurry, and for no reason at all. It's as if something is trying trying to get their attention, and perhaps figuring out for the first time that it has crossed onto the other side and can no longer communicate with the living. Now you're probably wondering where the homeowners were, and so was I, but with a basement flooded with solid ice, I think we both know the answer. A YouTuber named Jack Williams is hanging out in the basement with his friends when the radio on the top floor comes on at full volume. They stand outside of the house for a while and then decide to go back inside.
Oh God.
Where's it coming from?
My parents' room.
All of them rush inside at once. Soon they start to think it could just be the radio somehow messing up and turning on by itself, but one of them isn't so sure.
I swear to God I heard something in there. I swear to God.
They spend some time checking under the bed and other areas, but there's just one place they didn't check thoroughly enough. Maybe it's just me, but this large pile of blankets seems to have a suspiciously human-shaped lump in the middle. Take a look at this part and let me know if you think the person could have been hiding in there or not. This anxiety-producing deep web video is a collection of strange clips, accompanied by multiple layers of creepy audio. After a while, it becomes increasingly demonic and obsessed with black magic imagery as the jarring audio intensifies. The video also contains multiple languages. I think this part, for example, is both Spanish and Russian. Translate this clip if you can and tell me what's going on here. This could just be an art project, but then again, maybe there's something more devious at work here. It's almost as if this video was made in as many different languages as possible to corrupt the greatest number of minds at once. Whatever they are saying, however, I'm not exactly sure. All that's hidden in the shadows may surprise you. Posted to the Chills Narrators subreddit, Rob Impulse writes, "Newest Sidemen Sunday video. It looks like they don't notice this person standing up leaning against the wall. What person is he talking about?" Rob explains that the video only shows the 7 sidemen in orange jumpers, but around 30 minutes into the video, this guy appears hidden in the dark. Redditor Mitch's Microwave asks if it could be a bodyguard or cameraman, but Rob says the crew weren't wearing orange jumpers, only the sidemen were. So who is this, and why is he hiding here? I think this one might actually be paranormal. Who just let themselves in? Shared by YouTuber Paranormal Road Trip, this mysterious footage of the National Museum of Funeral History in Houston, Texas, appears to show paranormal activity. Watch the doors to the left.
She sets it on.
And it opens again.
Nobody else is here.
Oh
but
yeah.
her.
Oh damn. Yeah.
The doors at the far end appear to open on their own. No one steps out though. It happens again while a group of people are standing at the end of the hallway.
And that door's the latch door.
Somebody has to turn the knob for that door to open.
Yeah.
Or push it from the inside.
Push it.
So it's not just air pressure from opening the front. You actually got to push it.
Push it.
They recreate the incident on the other side of the door in order to see if the air pressure from the outer door causes it to open.
Doors didn't even budge.
Not even.
They didn't even budge. They're too heavy to do that.
So what happened here? Is there still some potential for air pressure? I think there could be. What if there were windows open in the room at the time that may have provided the right circumstances for the door to pop open? Let me know what you think in the comments. Australian YouTuber Sam Marsh is exploring far north Queensland when something odd crawls out of the forest to better observe him. Down the dirt road stands a tall creature roughly the same height as Sam. 53 seconds is when you can see a prominent head jutting forth. As the creature inches back into the forest from whence it came, Sam walks to where it was and finds a well-worn path leading deeper into the dark forest. Looking back at him is the carefully concealed figure with a long neck and a white head. At 1 minute and 48 seconds, it turns back to look at him. What is it? A YouTuber named Sammy Pena is waiting in the car alone when a total stranger walks up and tries to open all of her doors. I think this is far from an honest mistake, because listen to how hard he pulls on the handle. He was really hoping that someone didn't shut their door all the way. But the real giveaway is how he doesn't even try to unlock the driver's door. He probably knows from experience that this door is almost always locked and not worth bothering with. Between her tinted windows and sunglasses, he seems not to notice anyone's in the back seat at all. He casually walks away empty-handed, at least until someone forgets to lock their doors. This thirsty ghost is gonna drink your Coke. A YouTuber was telling a story to his viewers when the real story was going on behind him. Watch the soda can over his shoulder.
But it's definitely something creepy, so let's go ahead and zoom in on this jank. But this guy was the type of guy. Alright, there you have.
While the YouTuber thinks the soda could have been pulled by his camera cord, I think there might be another logical explanation.
But there's only one cord, and it's my camera cord. And you know, I thought maybe my camera cord, my webcam cord might have pulled it.
My thoughts are that condensation formed beneath the soda can, causing it to move across the slick surface of the desk. So what do you think? A thirsty ghost or science? I'm still wondering if it was condensation. This phantom is on a shopping spree. Published by Phantom Encounter in April of 2020, security footage captured some strange activity in the shop after hours. A meditation book is thrown to the floor from a stand next to the owner's desk. A moment later, a loud noise is heard off screen, like something has been dropped to the floor. The owner says she's familiar with this noise because it happens frequently. One of the handmade lampshades has been thrown to the floor. What do you think is going on here? Jones Margaret writes in the comments, considering the age of the building and its history along with the age of the buildings around you, it isn't surprising that you have so many ghosts. I have to agree, this activity does seem to suit the environment. This YouTuber isn't sure if deep web mystery boxes are real or not, so he buys as many of them as he can as an experiment of sorts. Sure enough, some of them don't have anything weird inside at all, while others look as though they were packaged by a complete psycho. Take this dirty stuffed animal that's been stuffed with even dirtier stuffed animals, for instance. In the very last one is a pill container, presumably for smuggling purposes. The creepiest package of all is full of abused dolls. It looks like it was made by someone with serious problems. You can see how they cut off the doll's fingers one by one here. Then they made this children's pop-up book filled with occult symbiology.
No.
No.
Then they are about to throw the whole box away when suddenly a yellow Teletubby doll with a burnt face grabs their attention. Listen to the sound it makes and tell me how this noise is even possible. At this point, he's seen enough and decides not to open any more boxes. The only problem is at least several more are heading to his address in the mail. While the front of a restaurant is running like clockwork, behind the scenes, things are heating up. That's what happened to Zach Burrell. who was working at McDonald's in 2011 when a grease fire occurred. He published his video of heroism in October of 2011, noting that it was him putting the grease fire out and that he was poorly trained to do so. In the beginning of the video, you can see the flames spring up in the cooker. Then there's a mass panic in the kitchen, and workers start racing around, trying to figure out what to do. Every effort they make seems to throw heat on the flames, lighting it up more. Zach explains what happened. First, I pulled the wrong mounted extinguisher, and the grill was covered in liquid. Then one of my crew members tried putting an oily lid on top of the vat to cut the oxygen off. It fell in sideways and the flames doubled. In the end, Zach grabbed a fire extinguisher to douse the flames, but not before the entire kitchen filled with smoke, leaving a dramatic scene that could have led to lives being lost. Pretty crazy, he writes, but at least I saved the store. Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the somebody in there with you?
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. While this isn't an extraterrestrial, it very much looks like something straight out of a sci-fi film published by the Mastercaster in December of 2020. This group just caught a lamprey, an ancient jawless fish with a mouth made of rows of vampire-like teeth.
We just caught a lamprey in the Jordan Creek right now. Look at that dude.
The parasitic fish is native to the northern and western Atlantic Ocean, and its funnel-like mouth sucks on all types of fish prey, including catfish, trout, sturgeon, walleye, and more. This monster was captured in the group's local creek, but lampreys have also been found in the Great Lake region. Many in the comments are familiar with the lamprey, with commenter John Sparks warning, "Be careful, it will latch onto you." Apparently this thing preys on humans too. Douglas Daniel has caught two scary moments on camera. One is pretty obvious while the other is for the most observant eye, so don't blink.
Here it goes, oh!
A Rockslide bangs a barrier open before this guy even has a chance to take their hands out of his pockets to protect himself. And if that was one of the smaller rocks, think about what any of the larger ones would have done to him. He isn't the only lucky person in this video. A rock climber is right next to the action when the rocks let loose. I wonder if something they did caused this to happen. If so, I can only imagine how bad they would have felt if somebody got hurt because of their mistake. Amy Admin wonders if an actual apparition was caught on home security camera haunting her place. Her strange sighting happened at 7 in the morning. A vaguely human-shaped figure walks to the curb and mysteriously disappears. Some scary stuff is going on across the street from her house, or is it? Perhaps it is a reflection of a car hitting the brakes. The alleged apparition does seem to come and go with the appearance of a car. The only problem with this theory is that there's nothing here for the brake lights to reflect off of. Maybe a piece of glass on the ground or something. So what's been caught on tape, paranormal activity, or a trick of light? I don't know, and now I'm as creeped out as Amy Admin is. This video was taken somewhere in South America, and it shows a man sitting on a table at a security monitoring station. Little does he know that he too is apparently being monitored, and not by a camera. After a while, this is what happens to him. Even the people reviewing the footage can't believe what they are seeing. Not only does a nearby chair move on its own, but it also moves in his general direction. It's almost as if the ghost is pulling up a seat directly across from him. Unbelievably, the man doesn't seem to notice this paranormal activity unfolding before him. At least at first. He is looking at his cell phone when suddenly it happens again. This time he sees it, and his reaction seems very legitimate as he becomes startled and tense. He looks behind him to make sure that the security camera is recording all of this for later evidence. Then he hops off the table and stares at the chair before him, Obviously scared now, he waits for it to move again, but it doesn't, so he goes over to inspect it more closely. This is probably the most convincing part of the video, because he would have seen a fishing line if it was a fake prank. Instead, he picks the chair up, puts it back in its place, and then puts a stand in front of it and gets out of there fast. I'm not saying that this video is absolutely 100% real, but it is certainly a possibility. A YouTuber named Travis Andrew Barker and his brother were watching the movie Titanic one day when his brother noticed someone in the background who looked completely out of place. Travis wasn't sure if his brother was just messing with him, but as it turns out, he was telling the truth after all.
If you can see right there, we pause the movie and there's Jack and there's Rose. If you look back there, you'll see the Slenderman.
I honestly can't say that I've seen this movie that many times, so I'm not sure how legitimate this sighting is. If you are familiar with the movie and recognize the scene, then please let me know what is going on here and explain who this mysterious background character is. If nobody can come forward with details, then this very well may be the first Slenderman sighting in a Hollywood movie. A woman calls into a show to talk about spiritual possession. She is in the middle of her story when suddenly something grabs hold of her mid-sentence and takes over.
Also,
Did anyone else hear a really deep voice say something at the end of that clip? Anyway, she regains her composure and manages to speak a few more sentences. She says that she has been cursed by somebody who is very powerful, but it is hard to understand her because she is clearly upset. The host is trying to get some more information when suddenly the spirit appears to take over once again.
Who created you and why? Huh? To speak or to go to court?
Yes, locked.
The poor woman's condition just seems to be getting worse and worse as the conversation carries on. Finally, the host sees that there is little reason to continue speaking with her and hangs up.
Also, when people...
Bismillah, Bismillah, Bismillah wa salatu wa salam.
What happened to her afterwards is anyone's guess. It's difficult to tell if this video is real without being able to see the caller's face. The full clip is about 7 minutes long, and most of it does not make much sense because of her panic. I guess it could be a fake call, or maybe the caller is on something. Otherwise, I think she could really be possessed.
Oh my god.
Richard Griebnick recorded this creature from inside his home over the summer of 2017. He is on the phone calling a friend named Mike for help while a large, hunched-over white humanoid prowls around his backyard. The gargoyle, as Richard describes it, seems to sniff the air from time to time, almost as if it can detect someone's presence nearby. It certainly has the build of a predator, but for some reason it seems hesitant to move forward. If you were wondering why Richard would call his friend instead of the police, I was thinking the same question, but soon it becomes clear that Mike knows how to handle this situation better than anyone. The humanoid creature convulses as Mike unleashes a string of words in an ancient-sounding language I have never heard before. If you recognize what is being said here and can translate, please let me know. After Mike is finished speaking, the creature sulks off into the forest where it came from. The event looks very convincing, but I wish that Richard could have zoomed in a little more so we could have gotten a closer look. If this is real though, then he was probably way too scared to worry about camera work, so I definitely understand and still fully appreciate what he was able to record. This video was taken on a creature expedition deep in the woods of Alabama. Is this an unknown creature caught on tape? They think they see a figure hiding between two trees, and when they zoom in for a closer look, they hear a deep noise. Well, some people think this is a cryptid noise. I'm pretty sure it's just the sound of the zoom lens going in and out of focus. Do you think this is a creature sighting they've caught on camera? I think they were just creeped out in some admittedly scary woods. Could that flicker of light you see fast past be someone's soul? Published to YouTube by Tomato Superman to the Ghosts subreddit. This security footage from the Golden Cross Weatherspoon in Broomsgrove in the UK shows just what happens in old haunted places after dark. The security footage reveals a strange, iridescent pink light flash around the corner and down the hallway before vanishing. Tomato Superman says that he's a skeptic but admits he found this odd. He writes that the place has been closed for 3 weeks and that the alarms had gone off, which is why staff came in to check it out. This is what happens in the recording that seems to set off the alarms. He said the security system also started to break down immediately after. Many in the comments aren't sure what to think either, although some lean hard into the spirit world. And could this be something similar? A spirit making its presence known in this place? It certainly doesn't look like your everyday dust orb. When a drone drifted over the residential area in Overland Park, 2 boys on bikes spotted it overhead, and that's when they jumped off their bikes to have a go at it. You can see one of the kids pick up something, which is presumably a rock, in order to ready aim and fire at the drone, but it's much too high to actually knock it down. The kids follow it for a while, but don't come close enough to truly threaten it, although they do make a valiant effort to do so, chucking a rock or two its way. Eventually they give up, but the drone doesn't. It continues to follow them for a good 8 minutes, with the boys getting fed up enough every now and then to stop and throw more rocks. Certainly a scary encounter for both parties involved. The wardrobe ritual is one of the paranormal world's most dangerous games. YouTubers PIT Paranormal Investigation Team complete the ritual, which turns up more than they expected.
Cosa? Cosa? Riaccendilo.
Something grabs Debbie, and it isn't human. What was that? A human-like hand appears for a moment to grab Debbie's shoulder, but no one is behind her. I do believe the ritual was successful. They summoned a demon. Now the question is, how do you send it back? This clip calls into question whether or not there's life on Mars. According to Redditor GamersGen, this video was captured by NASA's Curiosity rover over Mars. On the 23rd of August 2012, GamersGen linked an AI-enhanced version in 4K to the post. The video is actually a series of photographs, so the rate at which it appears to fly is inaccurate. Regardless, the photo series shows an unknown flying device moving over the horizon of the planet's Barrett landscape. It flies to a point where it hovers overhead for a moment before moving off and out of sight. Well, of course, many call fake in the comments. Others claim it could be part of something larger. However, a Redditor throws down some math, noting that the rover supposedly takes a photo every 5 minutes. If this is the case, it's pretty unusual that nothing changed on the planet's surface, nor did the light or rover shift in that amount of time. Logical, but then again, X-Files advises us to trust no one. If insects aren't your thing, then this entry will highly test your bravery. This footage is of an insect swarm at the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. The uploader writes, during our family holiday in 1996 or 7, we had parked the car and gone for a short walk up the cliffs. When we came back, we found that our car had become a hotspot for these giant wood lice, sea slaters. The clip shows piles upon piles of wood lice crawling around the car tires, an absolutely terrifying sea of insects, all coalescing beneath the vehicle. As the uploader says, probably attracted to its cozy comfiness. After seeing this, would you be brave enough to climb back in and leave? I thought not. After cutting a giant hole into a concrete wall, YouTuber Cyrex686 climbs through the hole to show us the secret room he's found beyond the wall. It's not big, but it is something, he says, noting that there's an unconnected pipe coming diagonal down the wall in the room. In one corner of the ceiling, there's a hook. At another point in the wall, another pipe juts out but leads nowhere. A pile of wood is piled on the ground, tied with a length of rope. The point of this secret room is unclear. Whether it has no utility or some secret use, we may never know. Communicating with the spirit world using candlelight is an old trick. The secret is to watch the flame to tell if a ghost is making it flicker or otherwise move differently. But if the candle starts doing this, the ghost is not even hinting anymore. Alright, so some strange activity is caught on camera when a candle moves on its own across the table. But look closely and you'll see the table looks to have been polished recently. The surface is very clean and reflective. Perhaps whatever cleaning agent he used on the table reduced the friction enough to make this object look like it was moved by a ghost. Or maybe I'm rationalizing a strange event because I'm scared and this is a real ghost pushing an object across a clean table. This ghost has had a few too many. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Best of Us, here is yet another haunted bar whose resident ghosts' sauced up antics were caught on camera. Watch the bottles to the left of the bar. One bottle on the second shelf starts to nudge toward the edge. While a wet surface sometimes has that effect on items placed on that surface, it usually doesn't lead to this. After inching slowly toward the ledge, the bottle takes a sudden jarring leap, knocking a second bottle below it off the display. This doesn't seem like a natural progression. Rather, it seems like the bottle was yanked from the ledge by some unseen entity. Many in the comments relate their own stories of haunted bars, with Redditor Your Dumb Idiot chiming in. I used to work at a bar that was haunted. Always the same bottle thrown off the shelf in the morning despite me moving it to prove it wasn't a ghost. While many, including myself, wonder what these bar ghosts could possibly want from us by throwing bottles around. Redditor Tech Impaired has one theory. He writes, they just wanted some booze. I see what they did there. An encounter with a mysterious pale figure in the forest. What could go wrong? Published by F2 Fun Facts YT. This cameraman arrives at a cement well that may be home to a madman. Peering down into it, he only sees darkness, but then he pulls back and casts the camera over his surroundings. In a corner near another cement structure, a pale figure is crouched. The figure looks human but keeps very still. That is, until it suddenly springs up, turns around and launches at the cameraman. Its movements are incredibly agile, almost superhuman, and its skin is inhumanely pale. Does it live in the well? Needless to say, the cameraman flees, leaving us to wonder if the creature was human or something else. It's 1:40 in the morning and two friends are cruising down a dark road, completely unable to see what's on the other side. They both think that they spot movement in the trees, and having nothing better to do, they pull over and shine their headlights into the area. Nothing happens for some time, and then a figure slowly emerges from the dry brush. One of them says that they think this is a witch, and I agree that could be a possibility. They are dressed in all black and hunched over, holding what appears to be a walking stick. If this is not fake and that's not a third friend, then I can't imagine what anybody would be doing walking in complete darkness all alone, especially so late at night. Ryan Prunty is certain their estate is haunted after this creepy experience in their attic happened. Let's take a look at what he and his friend caught on tape and see if it's really paranormal.
Stuff, I think it's all good up here, dude. We're gonna explore a little further. No.
Bro, it's
Isn't
locked.
it funny, Bailey?
I'm not
Open
kidding,
the door,
bro.
Bailey.
It's locked.
Bailey, open the door.
Look.
What is that?
It doesn't look like the door got stuck by itself. At 11 minutes and 34 seconds, the locking mechanism has been turned into a horizontal locked position. Someone, either a ghost or one of their roommates, must have been on the other side. They force open the door, and less than a minute later, this mysterious orb guides them to another weird event. No one else is home, and yet they see wet footprints outside of the shower that lead to nowhere. Maybe one of them showered and left, but I think most people would pick up the towel first. It's a creepy video, but all of these ghostly encounters would be easy to fake with the help of a third person. So I'm wondering if that's exactly what they did. TF141 Ghost goes exploring an abandoned house, one he found on a secret blog about haunted locations in his hometown. He walks slowly across a rotting floor that can barely support his weight, and apparently the floor isn't the only thing left rotting in this house.
As you can see, I mean, it's definitely abandoned. It's been abandoned for, I would say, quite some time now. Give you the grand tour of the kitchen. The tour of the abandoned house. It's kind of creepy in here, I'm gonna be honest. Check out this little door. I was really hoping I'd find something. I have no idea what the that is, so I'm not gonna touch that.
This mysterious object has been delicately wrapped in some kind of deli paper and left hanging. I have no idea what this is, but I'm afraid that it was once attached to someone.
I totally forgot there's an upstairs. Oh, these are rickety stairs. It's about 20 degrees. It's kind of weird. Oh, and what's over here? There is a Bible. There's a Bible next to about 100 toys.
The way the book is facing the camera is creepy, like it was left there on purpose, perhaps to guard against some evil in this room. Maybe an exorcism on someone possessed by a demon took place here. With that in mind, what he does next is very questionable indeed.
I'm gonna grab this Bible and take it with me, because I might need it on the way out. Alright, time to go. I'm just gonna leave this here. That's really...
Hopefully, removing the book didn't free something from that attic space. Besides that, I wouldn't want to touch anything that was possibly used during an exorcism anyway. And on top of that, discarding the book without a care seems like really bad luck to begin with. Oh, and one more thing. More bad news, of course. I think there may have been more clues in this hole at the top of the stairs, but what was hiding in there could not have been good. I think I might even see a face. Gorman Sujin is inspecting his new apartment with a camera to document any damages left from the tenants before him. He gets through all the rooms and the balcony without problem, but after reviewing the video later, he realizes that he is far from being home alone. A woman in white appears suspended in midair. I don't see a rope, but I will say she is next to the shower rod, and her feet are not touching the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what became of the last person who lived here. This video stands as a clear warning to always verify who is at your door before you answer it. This Ring video was originally posted to TikTok by Wynn's Home Awareness. The video shows a man wearing a hood approaching the door of this residence. It's nighttime. He rings the doorbell, and when the homeowner opens it, the man immediately enters without asking. It's clear he is a stranger. When the homeowner tells the man he needs to leave, the intruder starts stammering incomprehensibly.
Who are you? Everybody knows. How the hell are you? You need to leave. Out there. Out there. What's the reason here,
The homeowner has to physically grab the man's arm and shove him outside. As he slams the door shut, the man starts pounding on it.
What? What's the still upstairs here? Come on, where are you going? What's the stairs? Goodbye.
Even though he's now locked out, the intruder stands on the front step looking in. He tries the handle several times, just waiting there. What are this man's intentions? We can only guess, but I'd wager they aren't good. I have no idea about the date, time, or location of this video. All I know is that it's supposedly been uploaded to the deep web because the original uploader didn't want to be tracked by the federal government in retaliation for getting their story out. A large bright blue object is quietly claiming the night sky outside of an apartment complex.
What is this? What is that? It's a one-inch or
After a while, the sky blob stops in place and begins to expand outwards. Whatever it is, by the end of the video, it seems to take up nearly half of the sky. If this is real, then we probably would have never known any of this had ever happened without the anonymous deep web. A YouTube channel called Exploring Mysterious India is at an abandoned house that was once occupied by 5 families. Since then, it's rumored to become so dangerously haunted that not even squatters will take their chances. The group worries about snakes in the leaves and thorny forest vines, but the real danger is already watching them from afar. While searching for an entrance, they find this rope tied in a perfect knot next to a water well that looks deep enough to easily hide a body. They find this discarded cross on the floor. Perhaps it was flung from the hands of someone who tried to cleanse this place long ago. A smeared red handprint on the wall gives the impression that no one stays here for long. Sometimes you don't have to catch a spirit on video to convince me that a location is haunted. Between the rope, the well, the handprint, and the cross, I think I have enough evidence to make up my mind on this one. A YouTuber named Exploration Unknown is rummaging around a 200-year-old cemetery when they notice something observing them off in the distance.
What is that?
I see some lights through the trees over there. Something's coming. Dude, we need to get out of here.
At first, it looks like some native wildlife, but when the strange light changes from yellow to red, they know these can't be the eyes of an animal.
There's a light coming right there. It's moving through the woods. I don't know, it's right where we need to go.
It may not be the fastest chase ever recorded, but Exploration Unknown is still effectively driven out of the area nonetheless by these strange flickering lights. Let me know what these color-changing lights could have been because I honestly have no idea. A TikToker named Mark Anthony catches this strange activity at a post office after hours. Some kind of hanging display swings all by itself while an identical display stays still. I think it could just be blowing under an AC vent, but then again, in the very beginning you can see all of the other wall displays in the other doors stay still, so it is weird that out of all of these, only one moves. This door manages to stay open for 5 full seconds before slowly swinging shut for some reason, and I want to know why. It's a lightweight door, so maybe his house isn't level, and that's why his door is shutting like that. Or maybe I just don't want to believe that his house is haunted after all. So is this an unlevel house or something paranormal?
I like screaming or something in this tunnel. I'm gonna go check it out.
You may think you're ready for this list, but some scary videos you're just not meant to see. The boy in this video says he hears something in this tunnel that sounds to him like a scream, so he decides to go investigate. But no, the boy enters the darkness with nothing but a void at the end of it. For a while, all you hear is his own footsteps. Then you hear this. Sounds like Alien vs. Predator up in here. The kid stops for a moment, and in that quiet, a couple footsteps splash through the water. He then says hello to the creature he cannot see before heading forward again, but he doesn't get very far. The rattling sound echoes throughout the tunnel before the thing starts to screech in a way that makes your insides tremble. As he runs, the creature quiets for a time but lets out a final terrifying screech as the boy exits the tunnel, likely wondering what in the world he almost happened upon. Is this for real? If so, what lies in the depths of this underground? Dark Dominator thinks it's the rake, while the last one suggests it's a feral hog, but I've never heard a rattle like that from a hog before. Lesson learned: the next time you hear screaming in the darkness, it's best to run in the opposite direction. What if you heard this sound outside your home? Posted to TikTok by Pablo Riviero 702, this scream sounds like chills made audible. Happening outside the door of what appears to be a trailer, the scream is followed by dramatic banging on the door.
De soberbio. Está sucediendo en este momento. Así que no sé qué.
Whatever's outside starts shaking the trailer. It sounds like it's banging on every window, but you cannot see what's outside in the darkness. In a second video, you can hear even more terrifying sounds right outside. It honestly sounds like a demon. It continues to bang on the trailer. Would you answer the door? Come on, fellow adult, you can handle it. There's a graveyard in the community of poetry that is famous for a very strange phenomenon: flashlight controlling ghosts. Apparently, spirits will sometimes take control of flashlights in this area, apparently using them to communicate with the living and answer basic questions.
Did you come through the vortex?
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
What's really weird to me is how the light slowly fades away instead of turning straight off like normal.
So they have a destination when they...
And this isn't the only video I've found where this happens.
Are you gonna turn it off? I see it getting very dim. Are you playing with the flashlight now?
Can someone explain how this is happening? If it's not being caused by the paranormal, you can't see the bottom of the flashlight in the second video, so maybe their hand is still on it, but nobody is touching the flashlight in the first video, so that one looks especially real. And if you've ever tried this at Dry Creek Graveyard, then we would definitely like to read what happened to you next. So please let us know in the comments section. When you can command a door to open and close, you may just have the gift, published by the Scottish Ghost Company. In February of 2022, this investigation of an industrial complex turned super creepy when the investigators' commands were granted. The pair is alone in the warehouse aside from the ghosts. You can hear them communicating via the spirit box in the adjacent hangar throughout the video. The pair approaches a door and asks the spirit to open it if he or she is still with them.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
In answer, the door slowly swings open. A moment later, when asked to close the door, the spirit acquiesces, slamming the door shut.
Really impressed. Thank you. Thank you.
Many in the comments call this activity mind-blowing and wonder if it's real. Is this a portal to another world? Step on through if you dare.
Can you open the door, please, if you're still with us?
Oh my god.
Some haunted places are meant to be left alone. The old Washo Club in Virginia City, Nevada is one of them. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by I'm the Cat Daddy. This video footage explores the Washo Club in one of the nation's first industrial silver mining cities of the Old West. Prospectors arrived during the mid to late 19th century in order to stake their claim, and with money came the need to spend it. That's where the old Washo Club came in, also known as the Millionaires Club. This was a place where anything goes, with one main entrance and two secret entrances to keep the VIP's secret shenanigans under wraps. The Washo Club also doubled as a holding cell for the passed away. At least one room did, as passed on individuals were placed there until gravediggers were able to properly bury. With such a sordid history, of course, myths and legends are abound. 3 ghosts are said to haunt the place. A blonde apparition called the Lady in Blue haunts a spiral staircase. A small ghost girl is somehow lost there. And lastly, a prospector causes trouble around the bar, disappearing drinks that are left unattended, and drinking the shots that the bartenders leave for him when they close for the night. This video doesn't show these full-bodied apparitions, but does unveil a paranormal incident. As the Redditor explains, he and some army buddies decide to explore the Washo Club for paranormal activity. He writes, "We were told by a few ladies who ran an occult store in Sparks, Nevada, to look out for a dark entity named Steve. He apparently likes to close doors in a room called the Red Room." Though not in this video, during an EVP session in the club, they asked for a name and received Steva in response, and that wasn't the ghost's only response. As one of the bros provokes the ghost and asks it to answer them, a nearby door starts to close on its own. The men start screaming and flee the scene. The Redditor says they all felt Steve's presence in the club, and he continued to slam doors as they collected their gear. They also felt their jackets being tugged on, and a finger ran up one guy's back. I was thinking you probably shouldn't provoke a ghost like this, and many in the comments agree with that statement, while others who also investigated the club attest to similar paranormal happenings there. Is this place next on your paranormal bucket list? I think I'm gonna stay very far away from this place. A YouTuber named MBJ Report has a pest in his yard that has been bothering his dogs, so he decides to stick a garden hose down into the ground and flood it out of its den. Now they are waiting with a net to catch the pest and dispose of it if necessary. It isn't long before he sees 2 glowing eyes appear out of a second hole in the distance. This appears to be no ordinary pest, but rather a monster instead.
It's something. I don't know what that is.
It remains frozen in the beam of the flashlight for a while, hoping that he will leave it alone. Then the creature drops back into the ground below with a shriek. MBJ Report has had enough and decides to pull the creature up by its tail. He pulls back a red hand with a deep cut, which I unfortunately can't show here, and the video ends. I noticed that the creature doesn't really move its limbs at all, and possibly looks like a toy, though I can be wrong. Even still, that doesn't explain the glowing red eyes though. So if you think you can tell if this is fake or real, then be sure to tell me how you know. Does this janitor have some ghostly helpers he isn't even aware of? Published by Alan Abueg in June of 2018. This security footage captured something unexpected. A janitor is seen sweeping up outside a school. As he works patiently, something is seen rolling up on its own behind him. A closer look shows that it's a pair of stand-up dustpans. They both slide toward the wall, filling in one after the other. The janitor doesn't even notice. If spirits are doing the dirty work, at least they seem helpful rather than malicious. Remember that guy who was caught on a Ring doorbell video licking someone's doorbell? Well, we've just found his soulmate. Posted in December of 2017, the footage shows a young blonde woman approach the doorbell. At first, it appears as if it was provoked by a dare. The woman walks up to the doorbell, holds up her hand strangely, as though she knows she's on candid camera, and then looks over to her right, as if looking at someone out of frame. But then she walks back, just standing awkwardly, looking around at random, before approaching the door again. Is she waiting for someone to answer? Maybe, but what she does while waiting is not normal. The woman opens her mouth wide, moving closer to the camera, and you can actually hear her bite. She then backs away again, as though nothing happened, appears to be waiting for a moment, then starts to do this. Well, it's all well and good to get your daily exercise in. Doing that on someone's doorstep late at night after biting their security camera seems a little out of it. Don't you agree? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.